after getting transported into a Yandere story. My mission is to turn the female lead, Bella, into a darker version of herself. So, I started cozying up to Bella, making the sweet, good girl blush and feel twisted love and desire. Then, at the peak of her love for me, I ghosted her. Her darkness level hit the roof, exactly as planned. But before I could celebrate finishing my task, the system blared a warning. Bella's darkness level is too high. World destruction is imminent. Please find a way to lower it. Re-entering the world, I found myself trapped in Bella's lightless bedroom. She caressed my neck, smiling softly. You said you liked my craziness, remember? Am I crazy enough now? Why'd you come back so late? Returning home, Bella hugged me from behind. She softly kissed my back, her scent wrapping around me, marking me like a hunter marks prey. Feeling her warmth, I couldn't help but shiver a little. Busy day at work? Couldn't help it. She sounded a bit hurt. Then just quit, I'll take care of you. Couldn't help but chuckle. After 5 years together, I knew Bella well. Growing up in a stifling, shadowy world made her fiercely possessive of me. She always wanted me by her side 24/7. And coming home late today probably worried her again. I ran my hand through Bella's hair, planning to give her a reassuring kiss. But as I leaned in, I hesitated. Warning. Only 1 day left to complete the mission to fully turn the female lead dark. Otherwise, you'll be erased. I stopped in my tracks. Almost forgot. My mission is making Bella go dark. I have to eventually push her into that abyss. If I kiss her now, she might just think back on it later and find me even more fake and gross. Bella is the female lead in a Yandere story. Growing up in a gloomy childhood twisted her mind. Meeting the bright and sunny male lead, she kept him close out of possessiveness and insecurity. But over time, she'd be healed by him. In the original story, their love bloomed, ending together. That's how Bella's story was supposed to go. But reality is often messy. In one world line, Bella stayed gentle and kind deep down. Despite relentless torture and humiliation, she grew stronger instead of darker. This stalled the story. So the system urgently sent me to this world. The mission: darken Bella, then lead her back to the male lead for rescue. I agreed. When I got here, I poured my heart out to Bella. When she was alone and desperate, I took her in, gave her a home. When bullies went too far, I took the risk to defend her and patch her up. When nightmares haunted her, I held her close, whispering over and over, "Don't be afraid. I'll always be here." Still, 5 years passed. Her darkness level remained stagnant. But her affection for me? Through the roof. System was baffled. What are you doing? You're supposed to twist her, not woo her. You're meant to torment her. I smiled faintly. Her strength resists torture. It won't break her. I need her to love me, then die tragically before her eyes, pushing her to avenge me with darkness. Only then will Bella unleash all her feelings and embrace the dark side. The system shuddered. Wow, you really are an experienced story jumper. That's terrifyingly flawless. Despite my big talk, my plan faltered over those long 5 years. Not because of anything fancy. I simply ended up liking Bella too much. She'd cling to me, calling me brother, give me all her beautiful things, always looking at me with warm, deep eyes. Even a tiny amount of sweetness from me, and she'd give me her whole heart, sincerely and intensely. Despite successfully completing countless missions, I couldn't help but be drawn to a girl like Bella. So, selfishly, I kept delaying finishing the mission to spend more time with her. Until today. But today is the mission's final deadline. I can't stall anymore. I have to leave Bella, pushing this girl, who is all about me, into eternal darkness. Looking around the room, I noticed it was filled with flowers and candles, fancy and beautiful. Curious, I asked, "Is today a special day or something?" She gave a soft smile. "Yes, very special. Can you guess?" Lately, I've been busy with plans to leave, exhausted, not paying attention to dates. I guessed, decorated like this, celebrating your birthday? Bella shook her head. No, Today marks the anniversary of when you took me in 5 years ago. I was stunned. The day I took Bella in? So long ago, I could hardly remember the date. Yet Bella remembered for 5 whole years. Seeing my startled face, she lowered her eyes, whispering, "Before meeting you, everyone called me a jinx, avoided me, hoping I'd just spiral into madness. But you cared truly. My life had meaning since you showed up." So her eyes, clear and filled with fiery love, locked onto me. Today is my most important day, more than a birthday. Emotion overwhelmed me, seeing the girl in front of me. The truth is, I never genuinely cared. I was no different than those who hurt her, wanting her to go crazy and dark. But Bella, unaware of my teary eyes, kept playfully asking, "Now that you know what today is, do you have a gift for me?" I slowly opened my mouth but hadn't answered yet, when I heard a frantic pounding at the door. My heart skipped a beat. It was happening. As Bella was about to get up to answer the door, I stepped in front of her and pulled open the door. The next moment, a sharp knife plunged into my body. Blood gushed out, splattering everywhere. A drop landed at the corner of Bella's eye, turning her eyes a deep red. Bella hadn't even had time to react. She stared at my fallen body, muttering in disbelief, "Brother?" But I couldn't hear her. As my senses quickly faded, I could only see a bunch of thugs barging in, stepping over me and laughing out loud. "Hey, back when you got us arrested? Weren't you so tough? Yeah, why don't you stand up and say something now? We told you not to mess with us. We've got connections. You pissed off the wrong guys, and now you're gonna die with no one to avenge you." Their angry curses and mocking filled the room, turning what was once a cozy home into something resembling hell. Before dying, I took one last look at Bella. She was kneeling by my body, desperately trying to stop the bleeding. Her eyes were bloodshot, her face filled with despair and pain as if she was still calling my name. But I was dying and couldn't hear a thing. A single tear fell from my eye, silently merging with the blood on the floor. So, the heroine who had always lived in darkness finally received her first gift at age 20. My body. Congratulations, host. Bella's dark side value is now 100%. Congratulations, host. Bella has begun the storyline to slaughter the thugs, starting to correct the deviation in the original plot. Congratulations, host. Your reward has been granted. Amidst the joyous, congratulatory voices, I couldn't find it in me to be happy. Even though I didn't die and merely left the book world, Bella's blood-stained, desperately crazed face was burned into my memory and would never fade away. I returned to the real world. 5 years have passed, and I've thrown myself back into work. But I still haven't gotten used to living alone again. Not having that gentle, caring girl around makes everything feel out of place. But you've got to look forward in life. No matter how much I miss her, I can't see her anymore. Leaning on the balcony railing, I was somewhat defeated, letting the evening breeze wash over me. Host. Suddenly, the mechanical voice of the system rang out, startling me and breaking my thoughts. "Do you need something?" The system chuckled awkwardly. "Yeah, it's good news." "Me?" It continued, "Host, because you've been missing Bella so much, our system was moved and decided to send you back to her." "Me?" I sprang up from the railing and grabbed the system. "Stop joking around. What's going on?" Being in a book for so many years, I had never heard of anyone sent back because they missed someone too much. What a lame excuse. The system, exposed, immediately started wailing. "Host, something terrible's happened. Originally, after Bella went dark, she'd meet the male lead meant to save her, and they'd fall in love. But now Bella's ended up too far gone, totally obsessed with you, not even sparing the original male lead a glance. The plot stuck again. I rubbed my temples, my head aching. Is this really worth mentioning? Can't you just let the male lead patiently win Bella over? They're the fated leads. They'd eventually fall in love. The system cried even louder. But the thing is, the male lead didn't stay calm. Seeing Bella only having you in her mind bruised his ego, and he stormed off and told her about you being a transmigrator and your mission to make her dark. What? My heart dropped. Bella looked stunned when she heard it. I don't even want to recall her expression. It was terrifying. Trembling, the system added, "Now Bella's completely darkened. Not only did she kill the thugs, but she's planning to kill the male lead and might want to destroy the whole book world. We might have to go back and lower her darkness level." The system's voice grew smaller and more apologetic. I felt a wave of darkness wash over me. I took several deep breaths to accept the news but couldn't stop myself from cursing the system. "Why did you say it was good news? What's so good about this?" The system sheepishly defended itself. "Well, aren't you missing her too? I thought you'd want to see her. Is it possible that what I really miss is the innocent girl she used to be? Not the now fully aware, unhinged heroine who knows I'm a liar?" But no matter how much I complained, it was useless. Persuaded by the system's begging, I went back into the book world and ended up as a nameless nobody. I remember I used to be a side character with some status, right? The system whispered, "But host, that body is dead now, right?" I just realized that body was tortured to death right in front of Bella. Back then, she might have given me a grand farewell out of old feelings. But now she knows that I was just a fraud. From the start, I was just someone who wanted to drive her insane. Would Bella dig me up and desecrate my grave in a fit of rage? Before I could ponder further, a drop of water landed on my face. It started raining. I looked around and realized I was at a funeral. Everyone wore black, their faces cloaked in the mist and rain. I quietly asked, "System, where is this in the storyline? Whose funeral is this?" The system explained, "This is Bella's father's funeral. After he died, Bella, the long-lost heiress, was found and brought back to inherit the estate." Its voice turned serious suddenly. "But host, you should be careful. The current Bella is in a late-stage darkened form and is extremely dangerous. Even her father's death was..." "Bella." A man's voice suddenly came from next to me. A young guy in a black uniform stood there, handsome with a hint of sadness on his face. "Don't be upset. Even though your dad passed away, I'm still here with you." I froze. "I know this guy. We ran into each other during a previous mission. He's Calvin, the male lead from the original story. If the male lead is here, then the Bella he's talking about must be nearby." Suddenly, a lazy, light laugh surprised me. Somehow a woman appeared next to me. Her red lips parted. Her voice was sultry and captivating. "Thanks for being with me, Calvin. I'm not sad anymore." That one statement stopped me in my tracks. My heart raced. Even after 5 years apart, I couldn't mistake it. It's Bella. The Bella from the original story. Twisted, extreme, ruthless, with endless financial power. I snuck a glance from the corner of my eye. Sure enough, beside Calvin stood a woman in a flowing, elegant dress, exuding sensuality. In the rain and mist, I couldn't make out her face, but I saw her holding Calvin's arm, just as she used to hold mine. I felt a mix of emotions. There was a touch of bitterness, but mostly a cold fear. Yes, fear. The system warned me that Bella's mind had twisted, and she was planning to kill the male lead and destroy the world. But here she was, acting like a noble, graceful lady, laughing and chatting with her lover. Her behavior was flawless. Truly impressive how she plays the part of the deceitful, strategic female lead in the original story. My scalp tingled. I was supposed to win Bella over, but everything happened so fast. I wasn't ready to face her. I had no clue how to deal with this brand new version of her. I decided to avoid her for now. Thinking that, I turned quickly to leave. But I had just traveled over and wasn't fully used to this body. The road was slippery from the rain, and I ended up tripping and falling. As I hurried to get up, a pair of pale, delicate hands reached out to me. Those hands gently held mine, helping me stand. I brushed off my clothes and looked up, grateful. "Thanks." Before I could finish, a familiar scent hit me. It's Bella. My scalp felt like it was on fire. Instinctively, I shielded my face and stepped back, trying to keep a distance. But the hand holding mine didn't let go. She suddenly pulled my hand away from my face, catching me off guard and making direct eye contact. Those were the eyes I knew. Bella's gaze was cold and deep, as if she could see right through my soul. Yet her voice was soft and tender, like a lover's whisper. Brother? My whole body stiffened. Did Bella recognize me? But that can't be. I'm in a new body that should look completely different from before. As I struggled to figure it out, the system suddenly whispered, Host, since you're back to win over Bella with her perfect love for your past self in mind, the body you're in resembles your old one about 80%. It's convenient for Bella to recognize you and rekindle old feelings. Why didn't you tell me earlier? Wait until Bella caught me with this face to say anything? And rekindle old feelings? I looked nervously at Bella's inscrutable eyes, my scalp prickling. Why do I feel more like she wants to kill me? Just then, Calvin moved over, looking confused. Huh, Bella, what are you doing? He glanced at my face. His expression shifted from shock to confusion, then to unmasked disgust. Why is it this face again? What, do I have a common face? Calvin wrinkled his nose distastefully. Can't you guys, the ones aiming for an easy life, do some homework ahead of time? Daniel was never Bella's lover. He was just a scam artist. Looking like him only makes her disgusted. Daniel was my name. I blinked. I began to piece it together. After I died for Bella, a lot of people probably thought I was Bella's true love. They started copying my looks to get close to Bella. But they triggered a big bomb. After all, maybe I once was her love. But after the truth came out, I could only be the most hated liar to her. Those mimickers naturally got caught in the crossfire. But there's a silver lining. Bella probably didn't actually recognize me now. Just thought I was one of the imitating backups. If so, I might as well go along with it. I hesitated for less than a second, then turned and hugged Bella. Her gaze flickered. I forced myself to get teary-eyed, pretending to be heartbroken. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to look like Daniel. I've admired you for so long. I just wanted you to notice me, and I acted foolishly. Please don't hate me, okay? My years of experience in novel worlds honed my acting skills to perfection. Clinging to Bella and refusing to let go, I was the spitting image of one of those shameless, clingy side characters. Beside me, Calvin's vein throbbed angrily. Get lost. You cheap knockoff. Don't touch my Bella. He pushed me aside, taking Bella's sleeve instead. Bella, let's go. The host is calling you over. Let's ditch this lunatic. Yeah. Please get me out of here, Bella. Forgive me for not being ready to face you yet. Let me whip up a solid plan before I try to win you over. While pondering this, I looked at Bella with newfound anticipation. But Bella just gave a sweet smile. Ignoring Calvin, she reached out her porcelain white arm and gently wrapped it around my neck. She came closer, whispering softly in my ear, Don't be sad. I don't dislike you. Since that's the case, why don't you come with me? I instinctively wanted to take a step back, but my body was stuck to hers, unable to move. Bella tilted her head with a smile. What's wrong? Haven't you admired me for a long time? Aren't you happy? I was stunned. Happy, yeah. Bella nodded. Good, then let's go. She actually took my hand and walked alongside me. When I felt her warm touch, my palms began to sweat nervously. For the first time, it felt like being caught between a rock and a hard place. How did things not go the way I imagined? Why is Bella being so kind to me? And what does she plan to do next? Amidst all this confusion, I realized Bella wasn't the same person she was 5 years ago. She's unpredictable, nothing like I expected, just as they said in the original story. Deeply calculating and mercurial. Given that, I should probably just go along with her for now. I cautiously walked beside her, thinking how rare it is to be a stand-in for yourself. Meanwhile, Calvin clenched his fists tight with anger, glaring at me as if he wanted to pummel me right there. But with Bella present, all he could do was silently follow along. Soon enough, we arrived at the funeral site. A solid black coffin lay quietly on the lawn, surrounded by countless chairs and tables, filled with bustling people. After all, it was the funeral of the top family's leader in City S, oozing with lavish opulence. All the city's elites and affluent businesspeople had gathered here. I was awestruck. Being wealthy sure has its perks. Even the funeral looks like a high-end social gala. The host approached Bella and whispered something. Bella nodded with a smile. She let go of my hand and softly said, "Wait for me." Then she stepped forward to pray for her late father as part of the ceremony. The crowd instantly fell silent. I stood among them, watching Bella in her long black dress, reciting her prayer beautifully. The misty rain blurred her exquisite features, masking the coldness in her eyes, making her look almost like a pure angel sincerely praying for the departed. Just then, a sharp alarm from the system sounded in my head, panicking like it was on fire. "Host, something's very wrong. You need to stop Bella right now." I was stunned, glancing at Bella mid-prayer. "What's wrong? Is there an issue with what she's saying?" I wondered. The system was on the verge of tears. It's not her words that are the problem, but what she's planning to do afterward. I just found out Bella has planted lots of special explosives at the funeral, planning to blow the place up once the prayer is over. We have to stop her quickly. I hadn't processed everything, instinctively asking, "How much is a lot?" The system's tone turned unusually serious, enough to collapse half a world line, allowing Bella to escape into the real world through the blast. My heart skipped a beat. Blast a hole to the real world? No way. If someone as antisocial as Bella entered the real world, who knows what chaos she'd cause? I looked up at Bella, feeling a chill run down my spine. Her flawless beauty now seemed like a mask for the devil. The system urgently nudged me. "Host, you have a minute before the prayer ends. Think of something fast." What should I do? How do I stop her? Cold sweat began to form on my forehead. Should I try to grab the detonator from her? But I don't know where it is, nor am I confident I can overpower Bella. If only there was a way to make Bella stop willingly. While I was stressed beyond belief, Bella continued her prayer softly. "May God bless the one lying in the coffin, that even though his mouth was full of lies, those lies may become truth." Gasps erupted around me. Did I hear that right? The person in the coffin was full of lies? Is that in the prayer? God, did Bella just call her own father a liar? Is the internal conflict that intense? Shoo, with so many people here, is that something to say? You want to get in trouble? They hadn't been shocked long before an even more startling development unfolded. A young man, eyes red with emotion, unexpectedly dashed towards Bella. "Bella, I need to say something to you." It was Calvin. The prayer from hell was interrupted. Bella raised her head with a calm look at him. My heart finally eased a little, breathing a sigh of relief. Seeing Calvin's anxious expression, I realized he might have also received the system's warning and was going to stop Bella. Indeed, under everyone's watchful eyes, Calvin, his eyes full of emotion, spoke loudly, "Bella, forgive my sudden rudeness, but I have something really important to tell you now." His voice trembled, as if choking with emotion. "I'm not like Daniel, that betraying liar. Maybe you won't believe me, but I'm here to love you, to save you." He reached out to Bella as a savior. "If your life is always dark, would you let me be the one to light it up for you?" Hearing those familiar words, I was stunned. Memories were stirred up too. In the original story, after hearing these words, the darkened girl's love for the healing boy began. It was the start of a deeply emotional and tumultuous romance. You could say this scene was one of the iconic moments in the original story. So I finally let out a sigh of relief. With these words fortifying us, and Calvin's sincere confession earlier, Bella's dark turn should be halted. But before I could fully exhale, Bella suddenly let out a light laugh. Her gaze swept over the crowd and landed squarely on me. Her beautiful eyes were filled with madness and obsession. "Nope. If I light your way, the person who throws me into darkness won't be pleased." Calvin was stunned, and so was I. This response was totally different from the story's original. But before my shock could last, the system urgently prompted me. "Host, hurry. Only 10 seconds left until the bomb is detonated." 10 seconds? My heart instantly tightened. There was no time to think of another plan. I gritted my teeth and made a snap decision. I pushed through the crowd and wrapped Bella in my arms. Before she could react, I held her by the waist, bent low, and kissed her forcefully. The world seemed to fall silent. Bella's eyes widened slightly, Her red lips were bruised by my rough approach, a faint taste of blood spreading in both our mouths. Yet she didn't seem to feel any pain and didn't move, simply letting me kiss her chaotically. Congratulations, host. The heroine's dangerous actions have been stopped. Alert lifted. As soon as the system's voice sounded, I let go of Bella, panting. I had just taken a wild gamble. Who knew such a bold move could actually stop Bella's actions? But I couldn't fully relax just yet, because when I looked up, I met Bella's deep gaze. It seemed her focus had shifted from the bomb to me. I awkwardly chuckled, then suddenly remembered my earlier character setting. So I quickly said, Bella, you know I admire you. Why do you flirt with other men in public? I won't allow anyone else to confess to you. You belong solely to me. I'm jealous. As my words fell, not only the crowd but even I was dumbfounded by my own audacity. Those words were boundary-less, almost as if I had clueless written across my forehead. If anyone else had said this to Bella, I'd have scoffed. Who do you think you are? But it turned out it was me who said it. If Bella truly disliked me, she'd probably be disgusted, right? But no, Bella wasn't. To my shock, she rose on her tiptoes and kissed me back, as if we were indeed a loving couple. I was caught off guard, eyes wide open, even stopping my breath. Bella's eyes flickered. In our close, heated moment, she softly whispered in my ear, I'm not flirting with anyone else. I belong to you. Let's go home. Sitting in Bella's car, my feelings were a tangled mess. Even if I was slow, I couldn't miss it at this point. Bella didn't dislike me. She probably actually liked me, even though now I'm just a stand-in resembling the original by 80%. My emotions were mixed. Still, her affection makes it so much easier to complete my mission. With this new identity, I can stay by Bella's side, slowly win her over, and lower her dark points. Just as I was working out my strategy, I heard a gentle voice. Daniel, brother? This name, I've heard it for 5 years. It's so familiar. So I instinctively responded, What's up? The speeding car abruptly came to a halt. Bella's expression was hard to read as she turned to look at me with a deep gaze. This really you, brother? My heartbeat sped up. As soon as I realized what happened, a chill washed over me. I blew it. How could I carelessly answer to that name? Now, before I even settled into this new identity, I was already exposed. Tense as a board, I returned Bella's silent stare. I had imagined countless scenarios for when Bella found out my true identity. Maybe she'd show disgust, calling me a deceitful liar. Or maybe a mocking stare, taunting me for trying to get close again. Or perhaps she wouldn't want to see me at all and just kick me out. But I never thought. Once Bella knew who I really was, she'd just sit with me in silence, face to face in the car. The air seemed to freeze around us. The dim lighting inside the car made Bella's eyes look deep and unfathomable. Finally, she spoke first. If I didn't expose you, how long would you pretend to be someone new to deceive me this time? I clenched my fists, too guilty to even breathe. Naturally, I dodged the topic. When did you figure out I was deceiving you? Bella gave me a calm glance. I knew from the moment you entered this world. You've been gone so long, you think I'd be dumb enough to fall for you again? I was dumbfounded. So, since I first entered this world, Bella had known I was really Daniel? But instead of revealing me outright, she watched me flail around pretending, with all my nervous energy and mess-ups. Only when I thought my disguise worked, she'd casually reveal the truth, leaving me no place to hide. Teasing me from start to finish, she kept me in the dark. The original story's crazy female leads twisted sense of fun? Check. Though, I glanced cautiously at Bella. After coming into this world, she's been totally calm and cold. No freakouts, no getting all manic, and not even mad. It's like my deceit and return just didn't really matter to her. So, I let my guard down a bit and hesitantly asked, Bella, do you not mind what I did to you before? Bella's long lashes dropped, hiding the look in her eyes. Nothing to mind. You went home to finish your mission and used me as a stepping stone. Isn't that pretty normal? Her lashes trembled slightly. Anyway, I've been abandoned over and over since birth. I'm used to it. The scent in the car mingled in the air, just barely there, but swirling around us. I wasn't sure if the smell was making me a bit dizzy. Staring at Bella's lowered head, I actually thought for a second this crazy woman was feeling sad. Just like 5 years ago. Like when that once sweet and innocent girl looked to me for comfort. So, my heart softened uncontrollably, and I couldn't help but comfort her softly, like I had so many times before. I'm sorry for what happened before. Last time I really was trying to drive you over the edge. But this time it's different. As I spoke, my face got a little hot. This time I came with the complete opposite intention. If you don't mind, I can stick around this time as a way to make up for things. Bella blinked. Then she softly asked, "Is it real this time, you're not lying?" I nodded. I wasn't sure if this would make Bella feel a bit better, but as I watched, her lips curved into an eerie, sick smile. She said, "But I tricked you, brother." The scent was getting more intense and my head spun. I suddenly realized something was off about the fragrance. I looked at Bella in disbelief. "Did you drug me with the scent?" Bella smiled. "Not a drug, just something that makes you sleep a little earlier." The next moment she got closer. Her warm breath brushed my skin and her body, soft like a snake, wrapped around me, almost suffocating me. I instinctively tried to push her away, but whatever she gave me left me powerless, my limbs too weak to move. I could only watch as Bella lowered her head and bit hard into my shoulder. It was like she was re-marking her lost prey. The sharp sting spread through me, and I groggily cursed, "Bella, you're a psycho." Before losing consciousness, I saw Bella's smile widen. She finally dropped her gentle, polite disguise, showing her true, crazy self. "I'm not crazy. Didn't you just say you'd make it up to me? You tricked me once, so tricking you back makes it even, brother." When I opened my eyes again, I was lying on a bed. Fancy furniture and decorations surrounded me, all luxury draped in shadow. The room felt heavy, dark, stifling. I frowned and tried to leave, but as I moved, cold metal touched my skin. I looked down. My hands and feet were tied with shiny chains. I could only lie there, unable to move. Awake, a familiar voice called out. Bella stepped from the shadows, her usual smile on her face. "You sure like to sleep, brother." That was a long nap. Did she really have the nerve to say that? I wasn't just asleep. She knocked me out with drugs. I took a deep breath to calm my anger, rattling the chains on my wrist. "What's the meaning of this?" "Sorry, brother. I just didn't want you to run off like you did 5 years ago." Bella idly played with the chains. "If emotions can't keep you, maybe this will." A chilling fear settled in me. While she said she was sorry and scared, her actions showed nothing of the sort. She always acted so gentle and harmless, looking all innocent. Then, when her prey is caught, she'd reveal her ruthless side, taking them down with one blow, just like the dark, manipulative heroine from the original story. She's nothing like she used to be. But what Bella doesn't know is that I'm a book traveler with a system. I can leave this world anytime I want. These chains can't hold me. So I softly tapped the system. "You there?" No answer. A bad feeling swelled up. I tapped again, desperate. But the chatty system was silent, like it vanished. "Why so quiet, brother?" Bella's lazy smile hadn't left her face. "Let me guess. Are you trying to reach the system?" A chill ran through me. I watched her warily. "How do you know?" Bella chuckled. "Did you think after you left I was just sitting there, heartbroken and turning dark?" Her voice was gently mocking. "Absolutely not. In fact, I've been studying the system to make sure you don't trick me again." She approached slowly, each step pressing on my heart. "I invented a bomb that could blow up this world line. I was planning to destroy it and go to your world. I figured out how to listen to the system, so when you entered my world, I got the notice first. And I found materials that block the system. In this special room, you can't contact it." Sweat formed on my forehead. The original said Bella was a science prodigy, but she was supposed to work in electronic tech, using her genius to build an empire. So why she suddenly switched to system research now? This is just chaos. But before I could even react, Bella was already straddling me. Her actions were forceful, but her voice was this melting, bone-chilling kind of gentle. Seeing as I couldn't escape, she cooed, "How about you just stay by my side? All right?" It was almost terrifying. "What are you going to do?" I barely got those words out before Bella's lips crashed onto mine, shutting me up, from forehead to nose to lips and trailing downward. It was like she was confirming my existence. A suffocating heat engulfed me, and a tingling sensation spread over different parts of my body. My face was burning, and it felt like my blood was boiling. Right when Bella's hand touched a certain spot, I snapped back to reality. Instinctively, I bit her shoulder, gritting out with shaky breath, "Bella, what the hell?" The bite got a bit out of hand, and soon the taste of blood filled my mouth. But Bella seemed not to feel any pain and didn't let go of me. Her eyes had this crazy emotion swirling in them, and she let out a mocking laugh. "Am I crazy? But aren't you the one who most wants to see me like this?" She leaned in close, her eyes reddish as she locked them on mine. "5 years ago, you pushed me to this madness, lying to me for 5 years, dying the cruelest death, shoving me toward Calvin, not caring about my feelings. Is this enough madness for you? Why don't you like me?" This was the first time Bella lost control. Seeing her grip my neck like she might do something crazier, a wave of danger crashed over me, making every part of me scream to stop her fast. Desperate, I stammered a lie, "Because I just don't like you. Crazy or not, it's all the same to me. I told you I liked you back then because it was part of the mission to lie to you. Can't you see?" The room plunged into silence. Only the clinking of silver chains echoed. It worked like a charm. Bella went pale instantly. Her body swayed. Then she stood up slowly and left the room, leaving behind a whisper. "You lied to me, again." Felt like a dagger to my heart. 5 years living with Bella, and this was the first time I'd been so heartless to her. The plan was to drive her away, but watching her leave, my heart ached a bit. Was that too harsh? Should I have pushed her away more gently? But I soon realized I was overthinking. The next time I saw Bella, she'd packed away all those out-of-control emotions, wearing her fake smile again. She sat by the bed with a tray, feeding me bite by bite, acting as if our fight never happened. She was sickeningly gentle. "The dishes are made just like how you used to like them. How's the taste? If it's not good, I'll change it." I was calm by then and realized, if this task is about lowering Bella's madness level, I'd need to gently influence her instead of fighting. With that thought, I casually nodded, "The taste is okay." And so, life went on in this strange peace. The chains on me were unlocked. I couldn't leave the room, but I could at least wander around. Wandering around, I stumbled on something new. It was dark here, making all the furniture blurry shadows. But looking closer, I realized they looked familiar, identical to the setup in the apartment Bella and I lived in 5 years ago. And it wasn't just the furniture. Everything around, even Bella, started to remind me of 5 years ago. Bella came around every day, sometimes surprising me with a kiss, sometimes patiently drying my hair, or watching movies and having dinner with me. And every night, she curled into my arms, sleeping in a close embrace. During these moments, Bella's pale face gained a bit of color, and she looked a little less cold-hearted. It felt like time had really rewound, that spirited girl still before me. My heart raced along. Before I knew it, I was totally trapped by Bella, my body confined to the room, and my soul trapped in a dream. A dream from 5 years ago, recreated by Bella. But dreams eventually end. Tonight, there was a small note on the dinner tray. Just one line, cold and unfamiliar. "Daniel, Bella's madness level is still maxed out. I'm the only one who can lower it. If you don't want to fail and get erased, bring the system to meet me." There was an address below. Suddenly, I was wide awake, like a bucket of cold water had hit me. I knew the note was from Calvin. He's the only one in the settings who could lower Bella's madness. And I know Calvin's never been friendly toward me. He's suddenly helping me now. He's definitely got some ulterior motive. But honestly, I don't care about that. What I'm worried about is Bella's darkening level still maxed out? I thought that if I stayed in this cage and slowly made up for the regrets from 5 years ago with Bella, It would heal her emotional scars. One day, her darkening level would decrease. But now that I think about it, it seems like Bella was wearing a mask the whole time we were together. She wore the mask of her younger self, pretending to be like she was 5 years ago. Eventually, I almost fell for it too. But what about Bella? Is she really okay with everything I've done? When she's with me, is she being sincere? Or does she see me as a fool, easy to deceive? I have no idea. I can't see what's behind Bella's mask. Her plans, thoughts, emotions, even her current darkening level are all unknown to me. I've even willingly trapped myself in this cage, not wanting to leave. Thinking about this gives me the chills. How could I be so careless? The heroine in the original story was a master of disguise and manipulation. I looked at the closed door of the room and tightened my fists. Maybe I need to take a trip outside tonight. At night, as soon as Bella stepped into the room, I naturally wrapped my arms around her waist. With a gentle smile, I asked, "Bella, do you remember what today is?" Bella was a bit surprised, but still wrapped her arms around my neck and obediently replied, "Of course I do. It's the 10th anniversary of the day you brought me back." Even though I knew she would know the answer, my heart still skipped a bit when I heard it. It's a day that means nothing to others, but Bella actually remembered it year after year. The next second, Bella's warm breath brushed against my ear, soft and intimate. "What made you so proactive tonight? What gift have you prepared for me?" I steadied myself, then kissed her. "Yes, I love you." Bella's eyes widened in disbelief. Her body froze in place, completely unprepared for my kiss. In the intertwining heat of the moment, I struggled to stay clear-headed. Then I quickly transferred the drug hidden under my tongue to her. Maybe it was just my imagination, but Bella's bright eyes seemed to dim instantly. She soon collapsed to the ground, unconscious, leaving only one last sentence. "Brother, you're such a liar." I got up. Looking at Bella lying there, I could hardly believe it. Was it really that easy? Did I really just knock Bella out like that? But I didn't have time to verify it. I needed to seize this rare opportunity to escape the cage. As I stepped out of the door, I glanced back one last time. Bella lay with her eyes closed, appearing pale under the dim lights, almost fragile. I didn't dare to look again, and with a grim determination, I finally turned and left. Yes, I'm a ruthless liar. I took advantage of Bella's feelings on both anniversaries, and then slipped away. On the note, the address was an abandoned factory. As soon as I stepped inside, a group of guard-looking people rushed at me, tying me up. "Daniel, you're so easy to trick, aren't you?" I kept a straight face as Calvin emerged from the shadows. His lips curled into a mocking smile. "Being this stupid, I wonder what Bella ever saw in you?" I stared at him, not getting angry but eerily concerned. The last time I saw Calvin, he seemed full of youthful energy. But in just a few days, he had become so haggard. Dark circles under his eyes were very noticeable, and he looked exhausted. What happened to him? Calvin saw I wasn't responding and didn't continue mocking me. He quietly stared at me for a moment. "Does Bella like your face? Because I can't become what she likes. It doesn't matter how many times I see this face. It always makes me sick." I frowned. "Why did you bring me here?" Calvin chuckled lowly. "I just don't get it. I'm supposed to be the destined hero. Why would Bella like you?" I told Bella you're a liar, that your mission is to hurt her. His voice suddenly rose several notches. "Why does she still hang on to you?" "Why? Honestly, I don't know. But after being with her for so long, I felt that Bella wasn't just a fictional character. She has her own emotions, flesh, blood, and soul. She's a living person. So, she wouldn't be controlled by a storyline to fall in love with someone she doesn't love." Calvin gritted his teeth and paced in front of me. "Bella wanted to blow up this world for you and even killed her own father." I was stunned for a moment. "She killed her father?" Calvin snorted coldly. "You had no idea, did you? A few days ago, Bella tried to blow up this timeline at the funeral. But then she took you away, so the plan was called off. But after she left, I quietly ordered a search of the place to find and dispose of any explosives, to prevent future troubles. But guess what I found? His body trembled as if recalling something terrifying. I discovered Bella's father's body in a dark ditch, the once high and mighty head of the biggest family in S City. His body was just buried carelessly in a stinking ditch. I was also shocked. Her father's in a ditch? Then who was in the coffin at the funeral? Calvin glared at me hatefully. You're asking? I used system tools to look inside the coffin and I saw your face. This face again. Later, I found out from the system that after you faked your death 5 years ago, Bella somehow preserved your body. She stayed by a corpse day and night for 5 years. Only when you came back did she agree to bury it. What? I couldn't believe my ears. My heart was pounding hard. I thought Bella hated my deception and wouldn't treat my body well. But I couldn't believe these past 5 years. Bella was actually relying on a corpse to get through it? The skin suit I mercilessly shed when I faked my death. She held onto it for 5 years? Calvin walked up, eyes red, grabbing my collar. It's because of you messing everything up that our story is such a mess. Now look, the female lead is a legitimate nutcase, and the male lead can't finish his mission, about to be eliminated. So why did you come back? Why didn't you just die? I was tied up and couldn't move, but my eyes turned cold as I finally retaliated to Calvin's taunts. Why did I show up? If I remember right, you got here before me, right? Since you're the male lead supposed to be the savior, why didn't you save Bella sooner? Calvin's loud voice suddenly stopped. Back when Bella was powerless and alone, I was the one with her through the worst times. When we were broke and got bullied by thugs. We shared a bowl of noodles, huddled for warmth, patched up each other's wounds. But where were you? I stared him down, pushing him. Back then, you were the rich kid dreaming of a rich girl to chase you one day. I don't blame you for avoiding hard times. It's only human. But you did nothing for Bella and then jump up after her success, claiming you're her savior. That's ridiculous. My tone was icy. If your idea of salvation is sharing the good while avoiding the bad, then that's pretty cheap salvation. Calvin's face turned ashen. He took a step back, mumbling in denial. No, that's not it. In the original story, Bella loves me without me helping her. Everything's changed because of you. If you disappear, things will go back on track. His expression twisted into madness. Pulling out a knife, he dashed it at me. I didn't flinch. The next moment, with a loud thud, the knife bounced off. Calvin blinked in surprise but quickly realized. I actually forgot about that. Yep, I didn't come to this meeting unprepared. As soon as I left that signal-isolated prison, I reconnected with my system. And to ensure our safety, every system comes with a defense feature. Unless I choose to die like being killed by thugs 5 years ago, nothing can harm me. Calvin quickly caught on, sneering. Can't stab you, but I can still punch you for revenge, right? He raised his arm, about to hit my face hard. Unexpectedly, I closed my eyes, but the pain didn't come. I didn't think Calvin would suddenly feel guilty, so I opened my eyes curiously. I saw a pale, slender hand gripping Calvin's arm tight. His face turned red from shock, staring behind me, stammering. Bella? I froze. Just after a kidnapping and assassination attempt, but my heart never raced as fast as it does now. The woman who should have been passed out in the cage was now behind me, with familiar cool fragrance enveloping me. Just to meet him? Bella's voice was hot against my ear, but her tone ice cold. I turned to look with effort. How come? I thought you were unconscious? Bella caressed my neck with her fingers, gentle as water. Brother, did you forget? Today is not only the 10th anniversary of finding me, but also the 5th anniversary of your running away. How could I not be prepared for such an unforgettable day? My skin prickled. I knew Bella wasn't easy to deceive, but Calvin was clearly more frantic than I was. He forced a fake smile. Bella, I only wanted to hit Daniel because he provoked me and I got angry. Bella glanced at him coldly. No need to lie to me. Your system is the one I know best out of them all. I know your mission deadline is today. That's why you were so eager to lure Daniel here to vent. Calvin froze. His face drained. How do you know? Bella chuckled maliciously. Why did I let you close to me all these years? Because besides my brother, you're the only one with a system around me. To study the system, I had to start with you. Calvin stumbled back. His eyes reddened, looking deceived. So, you never liked me? It was all for my system? Bella leaned down, undoing my ropes, freezing cold. I said, no need to pretend in front of me. No need for fake affection. You know what crap you pulled on my brother. And now you dare to harm my brother too. Her voice turned deadly. Calvin, haven't killed you yet because your system's useful, so spare me the tears. Calvin turned paler than before. Incredulous, he stepped back. You knew that? But Bella, before he even finished the surprise, Calvin grabbed Bella's dress, explaining tearfully. 5 years ago, I sent thugs after Daniel because I knew you as the lead would protect him, so I dared to bully him a bit. I suddenly froze on the side. Sent thugs on me? My mind flashed back to 5 years ago. Back in a secluded alley, out of nowhere, a bunch of punks blocked my way. They mugged me of the tuition money I had saved for Bella, beat me up, and laughed while recording the whole thing. Why do you look so fierce? Huh? You know you've messed with someone you shouldn't have. Come on, smile. It makes you look better on camera. What's wrong? Thinking of revenge? Just a heads up, our boss has connections. Be careful or you'll end up badly. Turns out they were right about something. Later, when Bella rushed to my side, she called the cops, and those punks ended up in jail. Fast forward 5 years, those punks broke into our house to get even. I was stabbed right in the heart and died tragically. I guess I did end up badly. But getting stabbed was all part of my plan. I deliberately gave away our address to lure those guys as a stepping stone in the female lead's dark transformation. However, I had no clue about being robbed and humiliated in the alley in the first place. In countless sleepless nights, I wondered who I offended while staying by Bella's side. Now I finally know. It was Calvin. I clenched my fist, my gaze on Calvin finally burning with anger. But Calvin didn't look at me. He still clung desperately to Bella's skirt, like clutching at straws. Bella, I'm really sorry, but in the end, Daniel didn't actually get hurt, right? I knew you were so amazing. You'd keep him safe. Bella coldly shook off Calvin's hand and said, That's why I'm protecting him now. Calvin fell to his knees, defeated. The old broken clock around us ticked away. There was just half an hour left until a new day. Calvin was about to be erased. And then, something completely unexpected happened. Calvin picked up a knife from the ground and lunged at me with a desperate scream. Daniel, don't be so smug. Even if I die, I'm taking you down with me. A protective shield popped up around me. I frowned. I told you, you can't hurt me. But before I finished talking, there was a crack, and the shield suddenly shattered into bits. Calvin laughed maniacally. I traded the last half hour of my life for an enhanced knife. Your shield can't block it. Get ready to die. The gleaming blade came fast. But before I could react, a figure moved even quicker, stepping in front of me. Blood splattered everywhere in the next moment. A drop of warm blood hit the corner of my eye. Stunned, I looked up and saw Bella with her chest pierced. Calvin, knife and all, was kicked to the ground. He lay there in disbelief, looking at Bella, his voice shaky. No, Bella. I didn't mean to hurt you. My target was Daniel. Why did it come to you? But before he could finish, a cold, mechanical warning sounded. Book Traveler 038. The task deadline for winning the female lead's heart has passed. You will face immediate erasure as punishment. In the next second, Calvin's body started disintegrating like data code, vanishing into thin air with a final, chilling scream. From then on, he was gone for good. I couldn't pay attention to anything else at that moment. Instinctively, I held the fallen Bella, my mind blank. Blood oozed from her wound, creating a sea of red. Couldn't believe it. Bella took the knife for me? The cunning, clever female protagonist in the original story, ready to die for a deceptive supporting male character? I muttered, why? Bella, pale and weak, seemed on the brink of death. But hearing my question, she managed to smile. Because I don't want to see my brother die in front of me again. That's truly scarier than my own death. In that moment, It was as if the knife had been driven into me, every fiber screaming in pain. Tears spilled out of my eyes. Bella reached up, struggling to wipe them away. Her voice was soft. "Brother, didn't you tell me you loved me tonight when you were trying to escape?" My heart skipped a beat. Yes, I did. Earlier, to distract her during my escape, I'd casually said, "I love you." Bella's eyes no longer seemed distant, but filled with pure, genuine love. Just like they did 5 years ago when she was a girl. Even if it was a lie, hearing such a beautiful falsehood before dying makes me happy. Truth is, I love you too. Calvin got erased. Bella's in the hospital. The knife missed critical parts, but she's still in the ICU, fighting for her life. I've been so busy these days, hardly able to breathe, paying hospital bills, waiting outside the OR, going to the temple to beg for protective charms. Days have passed, and I've got dark circles under my eyes. Even the doctor couldn't stand it anymore, forced me to take a nap on the couch. But I can't sleep. Every time I close my eyes, I see Bella covered in blood, softly whispering she loves me. So vivid. Sometimes, I wonder if Bella's getting back at me. 5 years ago, I staged my own stabbing and left this world. 5 years later, Bella took a knife for me and hasn't woken up, as if making me feel the pain of losing a loved one. My heart aches and my eyes grow damp. "Stop, stop, stop. Don't cry, host," came the system's tense voice, startling me as usual. Tried to comfort me. "Don't be sad, host. Let me tell you something else to lift your spirits. Okay?" I asked, "What do you want to talk about?" The system seemed to perk up right away. "Hey, listen up. The other day Calvin mentioned something wild. He said Bella spent the first 5 years with your dead body. That's just crazy and kinda exciting, right?" So, I went and checked into it. But does that tone really sound like someone who found any legit evidence? The system's tone suddenly got real serious. Did you ever wonder why Bella had such a rough childhood? Why she was always getting bullied? I shook my head, kinda dumbfounded. I always thought she just had bad luck. A classic tragic beauty storyline. But it turns out there's a hidden story there. Bella was actually the oldest daughter of the biggest family in S-City, pretty prestigious stuff. But her family believed in tough love. They threw their kids into slums and piled challenges on them just for character building. They thought that was the way to make them into sharp, invincible weapons. So yeah, all those struggles Bella faced were orchestrated by her family. When I took Bella in, that messed up their plan. Her life became better, more hopeful with me around. She wasn't just less miserable. She found happiness with me. And that was against everything her family wanted. So, they set their sights on me. They started messing with me behind the scenes, even plotting to get rid of me. It turns out that even if I hadn't been killed by those punks 5 years ago, I would have been taken out by her family eventually. Later on, Bella went back home in a dark mood and found proof that her dad had messed with my life. So, she took him out, silently, and even threw his body into a ditch while setting up an elaborate funeral for me. The system clicked its tongue in disbelief. Wow, her dark side really went above and beyond. In the original story, she wouldn't have done this even for the male lead. I guess her family never saw it coming. They broke her for years, but it was your death that finally pushed her over the edge. Love is seriously more twisted than hate. If this was the old me, I might have joined in, calling her crazy. But now I just can't, because I don't think Bella's crazy at all. She's been doing so much for me, in secret. All I see is her unyielding devotion. She's never turned back, not even once. Hey system, so how's my mission progress looking? The system paused a beat. I got good news and bad news. What do you want to hear first? Hit me with the bad news. Okay, so Bella's darkness level is still maxed out, even after all this. My hand shook a little at that. The system went on, yep, she's a total wild card now. Thinks nothing of resorting to extreme measures. Her darkness level's permanent. I exhaled deeply. This was my doing, after all. And the good news? Well, Bella's love for you hasn't wavered. It's been at full power for the past 5 years. I froze in place, feeling my heart speed up. Everything she feels, wants, and aims for, it's all cause of you. Bella's gonna listen to you, especially when you're nearby. With you around, She'll let herself be anchored, won't cause any more trouble. Truth is, she loves you more than anyone else ever could. 5 days later, I sat by the hospital bed, watching Bella sleep peacefully. She's out of danger now, but who knows when she'll wake up. The system's gone. Before it left, it said it was off to the next world, to start new missions. Even though the system was kinda unreliable, I'm gonna miss it after all this time together. Chuckled and said, I picked you because you seem so alone in the real world. No family or friends. Seeing someone love you like this makes me happy. A lump formed in my throat, a bit bitter, really, and just like that, it bid me farewell. Don't miss me. Someone else, loved even more than me, will take my place someday. I could just feel Bella waking up soon. That thought kept my eyes glued to Bella's face. I brushed a hand gently over her cheek. Don't keep me worried, wake up soon. All right? But I waited and waited, all night long, and the stubborn girl still didn't wake up. I dozed off by her bedside without even realizing it. In my dreams, I found myself back 10 years ago when I first brought Bella home. She was just a kid back then, all bruised and scared, often trapped in nightmares at night. So I got some medicine and gently treated her wounds. The girl never cried or complained. Her eyes were as bright as stars, full of hope. You're so good to me. Will you really stay with me forever? I patted her head softly, reassuring her. Yeah, I will. Over time, Bella slowly emerged from her nightmares. She finally got the good night's sleep she deserved. The dream ended abruptly, and amidst it, I felt a soft touch on my face, waking me up. In the moonlight was the familiar woman, reaching out to comfort me, her actions echoing what I did for her 10 years ago. Bella smiled, love clear as day. We meet again, big brother. This time, it was Bella's turn to pull me out of the nightmare. Bella's perspective. When Daniel died, Bella felt like she was losing it. She killed those punks, got revenge for Daniel. But after that, her life just felt like a pit of despair. Bella was a prodigy in scientific research, so she began figuring out how to preserve Daniel's body. During countless nights, she held that cold body close, murmuring, "Big brother, you liar. You promised to be with me forever." When she finally couldn't take it anymore and thought about ending it all, a stranger showed up. He stopped her, said his name was Calvin and that he came to save her, a traveler from another story. He also claimed Daniel was the same, but a nasty deceiver of a traveler. Daniel's job was to make Bella turn to the dark side. So, his protection, his redemption, and even his death were all part of a con from start to finish. After hearing all of this, Bella couldn't even remember how she felt. All she remembered was numbly walking back to her room. Then, she just sat and stared at the still warm body all night. She spent that night finally figuring out how she really felt. Daniel tricked her, but so what? She wasn't afraid of betrayal, turning dark, or even being called a madwoman. The one thing she feared was that Daniel would abandon her once and for all and never return. So, from that day on, Bella started diving into system research. She believed that if the system could bring Daniel once, it could bring him again. She wanted Daniel to come back for her. Eventually, her research had a breakthrough. Bella found out that Daniel was there to ensure the original story's plot continued smoothly. So, she thought all she needed to do was ruin the so-called original storyline to bring him back. This meant fully embracing the dark side. But that wasn't easy. No matter how hard she tried, her darkness meter wouldn't go beyond 100. It had hit the cap but wasn't enough to bring Daniel back. As Bella grew anxious, her family showed up. They were quite pleased with how crazy she had become and decided to bring her back into the family. Bella smiled on the outside but had a gut feeling something was off about them. Sure enough, after some digging, she found they were behind most of the suffering, bullying, and misfortunes she and Daniel faced over the years. Her father even had plans to kill Daniel. One night, Bella went to her ailing father's bedside. With him staring at her in terror, she calmly spoke. "Father, you went through so much trouble to turn me into your perfect vision. But did you know? No matter what you did, I still like Daniel. I'm this crazy because of him, not you." She leaned in and whispered, How about I use our entire family as his wedding gift after you die? Her father was so enraged his veins popped out. A heart attack took him before he could utter a word. That's when Bella realized her darkness meter had exceeded 100 and went completely haywire. So she knew Daniel would be back soon. In a good mood, she tossed her father into a ditch and placed Daniel's body in the most expensive coffin. She wanted Daniel to have the grandest funeral. Everyone who had hurt them would have to pray and cry for him there. Then, after the prayers, she'd blow up the funeral and let them repent in hell. On the overcast funeral day, Daniel returned. It was as he stumbled, seemingly still adjusting to his new body, that he fell at Bella's feet. Bella helped him up with feigned kindness, but inside, she was reeling. Before that moment, she thought her feelings for Daniel were a tangled mess of love and hate. She loved that he saved her but hated that he led her into despair. But when Daniel really came back, she realized her feelings boiled down to one thing. She wanted to see him. Insanely, obsessively, she wanted to see him again. On their 10th anniversary, Daniel drugged Bella and escaped his cage. But he didn't know that as soon as he left, Bella got right back up. She watched him disappear into the distance without a word. She let him go. During those days holding Daniel captive, Bella was in pain. The madwoman knew she was selfish. She thought, I'm stuck in a 5-year-old dream, why drag Daniel into it too? He was always meant to be lively and free, not trapped with her. So Bella stood, gently touching the lip Daniel had bitten. Her lips curled into a smile. Even after 10 years, it was still a lie. But this one was sweet because Daniel said, I love you, so she didn't mind. Bella tidied up, then shadowed Daniel quietly. She let him go free, but she'd always protect him from the shadows. Bella once told Daniel, brother, you think I'd be so dumb to keep falling for your tricks? But now she knew she was that dumb, and crazily so. She's the kind of person who, once in love, would willingly sink into someone's lies, even knowing they were a con artist. But Bella didn't care. Crazy or not, it didn't matter. Frauds and crazies were always meant to be together. Bella was discharged. We returned to the villa and started recovering slowly. I brought her a bowl of soup and fed her spoonful by spoonful. Bella sipped her soup, her gaze never leaving me, as if I was the real meal. I tapped her head. What are you staring at? Pay attention and eat up. Bella gave a smile that felt like a gentle breeze. I'm looking at you, of course. You're so handsome. It's so great to see you again. I blushed at her teasing and couldn't help but tap her head again. Haven't seen you in 5 years, and while you might not have learned much else, you've definitely gotten slicker with your words. The usually composed and cunning lady suddenly looked upset, her tone tinged with rare vulnerability. But I'm serious, brother. When I was unconscious, I was really afraid you'd leave again, leaving me all alone. So waking up and seeing you, it felt truly amazing. It's the first time in my life I felt lucky. A wave of bittersweet emotion washed over me. I swallowed back the words of criticism stuck in my throat. I habitually patted Bella's head, intending to give her a reassuring kiss. Does it still hurt? Bella answered honestly, no, it doesn't. It actually feels nice. The next moment, Bella grabbed my hand, stopping me from patting her. She wrapped her arms around my waist and kissed me with passion and abandon. The room's temperature gradually rose, and the atmosphere turned steamy. I took a deep breath and put a hand on her lips to stop her from kissing me. You haven't recovered yet. The doctor said no strenuous activity. Bella kissed my hand in response. Her warm breath brushed over my skin, sending a shiver through me. How about you see for yourself if I've recovered, brother? Bella's kisses were intense, but I couldn't bear to push her away. I leaned down, losing myself in Bella's affection. In the midst of it all, a thought crossed my mind. How could someone as fiery as Bella just be a flat character in a book? My mind drifted back to 5 years ago. On our 5-year anniversary, that was the first time I left Bella. Bella once laughed and said to me, my life only got meaningful after meeting you. I always thought it was just sweet talk. But now it seems it might be true. This lonely girl had long since grown flesh and blood because of love, gaining a soul. And 5 years ago, She stubbornly placed her true heart in my hands.